Hey guys, I'm Adam from the Utopia of Nerd News.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we will be reviewing Star Trek Into Darkness.
Woo!
So, with the sequel to Star Trek, we obviously know kind of the main characters. They were the same. I don't think there's a whole lot to touch on unless you really have anything to say about any of them.
Nope.
So let's talk about some of the newer ones. How about Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan?
I loved him. Way too, kind of, I don't know, he just had this way of just sucking me in with his voice. Like he just has that really deep voice, and he just, he did a really great job, He
kind of has this kind of like almost creepiness to him, the way he just kind of like stares at people with like no emotion at all.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. He's probably one of the better villains you can think of that's come out this year, maybe the best so far.
Mm-hmm.
Really good job for him. Maybe the highlight of the movie even was the addition of him as the villain.
Yeah.
And he did maybe the greatest Star Trek villain there is, and he did him really well.
There was points where you didn't know if he was the bad guy, like you knew, but then you're like, oh well, he's kind of doing good stuff.
He's his own bad guy.
Yeah.
He's not like chaotic evil like the Joker. He's very controlled, and which was kind of cool without going into any spoilers, because at the end of the movie he kind of loses that cool. He kind of goes postal a little bit.
Yeah.
It's pretty good stuff.
Definitely.
The other kind of bigger addition would be Alice Eve. So what were your thoughts on her as an addition?
She did a pretty good job in the character role. At first I was like, who's this blonde coming in? Like, what? But she did a very good job with her role. I mean, it wasn't a huge one, but towards
it was
the end,
a pretty good side role,
a big one. So, yeah, I think she did her part fairly well. I mean, no big complaints.
I agree. I think she was perfect for the role that they were looking for, and obviously you kind of know why they put her on a lot of the press tours. She's a very attractive lady. And the guy who played her dad, otherwise known as the Terminator, what were your thoughts on him?
Good job at doing that evil-ish, trying to be good role.
I think that sums it all up right there.
Right there.
All right, so moving on from the characters.
Yes.
The directing and the writing, what were your thoughts here?
Well, okay. J.J. Abrams, come on. He's one of the greats. He does such a fantastic job with the directing style and the writing, and it pulls you in, and even if the story might be, a little like, oh, I saw it coming, it just pulls you in with all the action and stuff. I mean,
well,
I loved it.
For me, obviously, I loved the camera work in this.
Yes.
The cameras were great. I loved when they had the camera like pointed on like two people talking. Somebody comes walking through from the other side, and instead of like doing like a shot to get them all in, they do kind of like a person looking view where you look this way and watch this person walk into the shot with them. And it does a really good job of kind of making you feel like you're there, part of it. That's what this movie does maybe better than anything else, is it makes you feel a part of the adventure and the story.
Definitely.
And really well used music as well.
Oh my goodness, I loved it. And I'm one of those people that listens to the music just to, does it match, or is it something that I would buy? I would definitely, there have been a couple songs that I would definitely go and buy.
I would say this would be my reason. If you watched our review on the 2013 Great Gatsby, on why I said I don't like actual singing in the background music for movies because it kind of clutters it up, this is a good reason why. Yep. This did it perfectly. It set the mood. It made you feel emotions. It was really, really good stuff.
Yes, that piano work and just the orchestral stuff.
So J.J. Abrams as a director is a really good job. He does a really good job directing movies. You kind of have to watch out when his name gets thrown around. It gets thrown around on tons of TV shows and movies that he's barely connected to. He's like a producer, but it's one of his people because he has like a bubble of people. And whenever they do it, they want to throw his name on there because it gives the extra recognition. Think Revolution, right?
Yeah.
He's just kind of a side producer. He really doesn't have a lot to do with it. But they throw his name on there all the time. You have to be careful with this stuff, but this is one of his things. This has his group of main writers, and they're hardcore Trekkies.
Oh, yeah.
And you can feel it in this movie. They do a good job with that. A few minor things I wouldn't say I really dislike, but I would have preferred maybe a little bit more. I loved the character interactions with the writing and the acting that goes along with it. But there were only a few earlier on, and as the story started going from the middle point to the end, they really kind of stopped on those. I wish there was a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot, but just a little bit to break up the action, because the action was so much moving really fast. It would have been nice to have a little bit more character development in between, especially maybe because they had a few newer characters.
Right.
That would have been nice.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm not complaining there because the action in this movie is very good. This is definitely my favorite movie of this summer so far.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. As far as one thing I didn't care for, but I understand why they did it, was at the end I hated the cop-out ending. They completely copped out. I wish they would have stuck with what they were doing and just done it. And I think that would have been so emotional and memorable. But I know why they didn't. They obviously want to have a third one in another 3 to 4 years in between the Star Wars movies that J.J. Abrams is going to work on. But I wish they would have stuck with it at the end. I really think that would have been so memorable. If they really wanted to do another Star Trek, they could have done like a New Generation or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand why they did it. I would have just loved it for the emotional impact, because it has a very emotional kind of turning in the past over on its head, where they kind of reversed roles with Spock and Kirk. And I really wish they would have stuck with their guns. I really wish they would have.
That would have been really cool. Just a little side note. I do love how they incorporated some of the old races in there. Obviously, they're going to, but just hearing those names brought back memories from like watching the TV show, like, you know, bringing in those like Khan and bringing in like the Klingons and stuff. But yeah.
If they were to do a third movie, I almost feel like they would have to do it on the Klingons, because this whole movie they allude to them being on the brink of a war, but then they never kind of finish that. So I think if they do another one, it's going to be the humans versus the Klingons in kind of a war, or like a stopping or preventing a war kind of a thing, because they're not really a military unit.
Right. I agree.
I think it'd probably be something along there if I was just to speculate.
Yeah. So for recommendations, definitely someone who loves the action, and of course, if you're a Trekkie, you'd love it.
Right.
Sure.
If you like sci-fi,
definitely.
You like really good directing, and you love seeing camera work. You know, if you're not a big fan of sci-fi, maybe not as much for you. But this isn't a super, super hardcore, like, out there crazy sci-fi world, so it's maybe worth the try.
And if you haven't seen the first one, there's a connection, obviously. There's going to be a connection, but I would also say that if you haven't seen the first Star Trek, that you probably wouldn't be too lost in watching this one. So, you could always backtrack, but
I would watch the first one because it was also a very good movie.
Yes.
And these two have a very good kind of tie-in. It feels like a good, it feels like they kind of picked up where they left off, that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good movie. Go check it out. The best so far, better than Iron Man 3 and Great Gatsby. I'll throw it down right there.
Yep. Sorry. It is. it's the summer blockbuster there. For now.
So, that's our video. If you liked it, there's a thingy down there you can click for liking it. So, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.